thought, let's have it then, James, on this Liverpool game on Sunday. We'll do that one first, because it's more recent, and we'll do Genk away next. There's lots and lots of stuff to cover. I imagine for a neutral, it must have been a phenomenal game to watch. I was really gripped by it, to be honest. I wrote a few notes down in the running order, as I usually do, and I started off with a few negatives. Right? How grim are Liverpool to watch, with them moaning all the time, diving. The referee, I thought, was a disgrace. Craig Pawson could not wait to award Liverpool each and every possible decision that he possibly could, whilst insisting on waving away countless challenges on West Ham players that looked exactly the same as ones that had just gone against us. But thought, no, we will get onto all of that, of course. But let's start with massive positives first. We've mentioned the atmosphere. Jonesy, we've got to start there. I know we've done it briefly already, so we'll only do quick few more words on it. But it was, you reckon it's the best game you've ever been to, do you, at London Stadium?
Best atmosphere.
Yeah.
Probably biggest result as well. I don't really remember us having such a big result. Obviously, we've beaten everyone there now. If you include City and penalties in the cup, I think we've beaten everyone there. Everyone of note, and that one just stands out as just one that just had everything. It meant a lot more, because went above them, went into third in the Premier League. It comes off the back of such a good season already. They were unbeaten for 9 months in all competitions, and it was just Liverpool. Like, it had everything for me, and then the atmosphere just capped it off. And yeah, I just thought, of all the good nights, particularly under the lights, of all the good nights we've had there, that one is the very best that I've been to, that I can remember anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I can't really argue with anything like that, really. It's hard, especially after this amount of time. I certainly wasn't that convinced by your Leicester shout earlier in the season. This was streets better than that, I thought. You always know, I find, when it's, and I used to find this at Upton Park. So I used to sit in the East Stand upper tier at Upton Park, towards the Bobby Moore end, sort of in line with the penalty area. And it's generally accepted that the East Stand was the quietest of all three stands at Upton Park. There was the sort of people you had in there had been sitting in the East Stand for 30 or 40 years, which tended to mean they were of a certain age. It got going a bit. The Ipswich at home game, as everyone knows, there were games where the East Stand was just part of it and the whole stadium was one. But on the whole, the rule of thumb was it was a little bit quiet. I certainly noticed it sitting there when I did. And you always knew, you could always tell when you looked around at people, perhaps advancing in years a little bit, who often just sit and enjoy the game, not wanting to stereotype at all. But that tended to be when you could tell, when people who would normally sit and politely applaud or be, stand up only when they scored, when you've got like people who are 60, 65 plus around you, bouncing up, and I sit next to a wonderful lady called Christine, travels up from Brighton every week for West Ham. Sure she won't mind me saying but she's at least sort of late 60s, I would suggest. And when you've got people like that around you, and everywhere, not just the people next to me, but everywhere, bouncing up and down and singing West Ham are massive everywhere they go. When you got people like that around you, you know that everyone's there on the same place, and everyone's been taken to that level where football and being in a football stadium can take you. And I don't care, and I've said it before, and it's an unpopular opinion among some people, but there is nothing that beats watching football in the stadium. Nothing at all. I know the views might be better, and you get VAR and you get to see different camera angles of what's happened. Nothing at all, Jonesy, beats. And there's a few things in life of when events like that, when you're part of something where you're part of a mass who are all behind one thing and feelings that only football can bring you. Yeah, it's something special, and that really was. And that would be, you mentioned it there, I brought up a couple of the games that I mentioned from London Stadium. That game against Ipswich is remembered forever, isn't it? The Eintracht Frankfurt at home in the in Europe back in the 70s. That is one that's well remembered by West Ham fans for being an iconic Upton Park atmosphere evening, and I think that will go down the same, won't it? The place was, I just couldn't believe it, mate. It was like everywhere looked like liquid, didn't it? Because it was just movement all around you, and it was upper tier, lower tier. All the seats were packed out, which was nice. It was just, the whole thing was like a living being, and there are few phenomena like that in the world. So to see it at London Stadium, and I do hope as well, mate. I hope that does banish. I don't know what you think, mate, but I hope that does banish for some people the idea that, you know, that will never be home and whatever. I appreciate some people are always gonna, you know, and we've seen some people still, and accounts and organisations recently still tweeting about, you know, we want a football stadium, and I sort of understand that theory. Maybe we've covered our opinion on it, that this is what we've got, and I'm just happy to enjoy it at the moment. And I hope some people who are somewhere in between those two schools of thought will perhaps have been, that will go, yeah, you know what, actually, that was superb. That was football. That was a football atmosphere, and it felt like a football game. Anyone else still sort of saying that doesn't feel like a football stadium? Well, I don't know. You won't get that. That is better than Brighton is most weeks, for example, or better than Arsenal is for sure most weeks, and that's built for football. I think it's as much, if not far more, about the people who are inside and the players on the pitch than it is, if it's all built nicely. Tottenham won't have had an atmosphere like that this season, not even close. And theirs cost £1 billion, and it's it's like the best football stadium in football.
I completely agree, mate. That game proved, if previous games hadn't already, that West Ham fans can turn that stadium into one hell of an atmosphere. They can make that stadium feel like home, not just for themselves, but for the players on the pitch as well. And there will be many going, but as you quite rightly said, that, you know, it's still not a football stadium, it's not built for football. But when you've got atmospheres like that, who cares? Like, genuinely, like, who cares how far away you are from the pitch? When you've got atmospheres like that, and I can guarantee the people on the very side, on the sides, particularly on the Billy Bond stand, where they're the furthest away from the pitch on the sides, where they arch round, they still had a very, very good atmosphere compared to everyone else who may have been a little bit closer. The atmosphere was the same for everyone. So yeah, I think that it does put together a lot of the argument that, you know, it will never be a football stadium. It will never be good for West Ham. West Ham fans can't make any noise there, because we've proven, not just on Sunday, but in previous games as well, we've spoken about it before, that we can make a racket in that stadium. It can be a really positive atmosphere and a positive place where the players, just for the fans, for the players, for everyone involved in the football club. So we can make that place feel like home. And it's down to the fans to, obviously, it does help when the team are so good.
Of course, yeah, it's just everyone's got to do their part, haven't they?
But everyone's got to play their part. And yeah, I think Sunday it all came together. It all came together on Sunday, and it just proves that it can be home.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, I mean, those players must not be able to wait to play there every week. You know, and that's what it's supposed to be about. That's the sort of, as much as they're there to entertain us, and it's our club, and we've gone for a long time, well, we're there to get behind them as well, aren't they? And I do think, I am of the opinion, it should, just slightly on the balance of things, it should come from the players first, I think, ultimately, because it's our money, it's our club, and we're powerless-ish from the stands. But I think it's been proven countless times over the years that West Ham fans can be both the best and the easiest fans to play for, and sometimes some of the more difficult, I would imagine. But when it's going like it is, it doesn't matter the building, does it? It's the essence of the essence of the club still. It felt there again for me, just that unity among all of us, like everyone who's in that ground, just like, yeah, this is what West Ham like being a West Ham fan's about, and the players want to play. I mean, Ben Johnson after the game, just what a kid, what a life, just massive.
I
I was
turned
so
around and
pleased for him.
he's dancing with Declan Rice when I turned around. I was walking back.
Yeah.
I just had to peer around to see who he was clapping, and it was Ben Johnson and Declan Rice having a little dance in the middle of the pitch, and I was just like,
good on them as well. Good on them. Yeah, absolutely. It was funny actually, mate. I don't know what you thought at the end, because it's funny. It's funny. I'm finding it more and more difficult to get out the ground this season, because I'm used to, like, either if we're getting tonked 4-0, leaving like a few minutes early, or even if we're losing 2-1 and there's a chance, I obviously stay till the end, but I'm sort of pretty much out the door fairly quickly. And where my entrance is over the station side anyway, right by the bridge, it can be sometimes nice and easy to get out. But I'm finding it a bit annoying this season, because I'm like staying to clap the players for so long after the kickoff and just drinking it all in. By the time I get out, like 50% of the London Stadium is on the bridge ahead of me. I'm like, there's some slight drawbacks to winning all these games. But yeah, absolutely good on them. But it was funny, mate. I was staying to clap at the end, and I was like, a few of the players went down the tunnel a bit lively. I know Kufal did his customary jog round, and Ben Johnson and Declan Rice were loving it, and the youngsters, and good on them, and definitely good on them. I was like, they could have sort of made a bit more of a thing about it, as in, come round and clap as if it a bit more like they did against City, and that was a cup game. But you think, massive, huge win like that. You want them to be part of it. But then I thought, actually, you know what? Maybe you don't. Maybe that's part of the psyche now, that we don't want to party and act like it's like the best thing ever to happen to us if we beat teams like that at home, because that's the sort of club we are now, and that's what we go out into games expecting to do. Big team mentality.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I agree. I think it's good that they didn't all come out and start, really drinking it in and sort of going,
like shirts off in the crowd. Yeah.
Like, it's all right for one or two to come out and do it, but we don't want to be like Liverpool when they drew 2-2 home to West Brom, and Klopp had them all in front of the cup, all with their arms sort of going, like, sort of saluting the crowd as a team, all in a line. Like, just drawn 2-2 at home to West Brom. Like, why are you celebrating? Like,
where was this particularly?
That was a season. I think it was his first season. Klopp was at Liverpool,
right?
And I think they were 2-0 down, and they come back and drew 2-2 at home to West Brom. And he's summoned all the players over in front of the cup, and he's lined them all up. They all hold hands and sort of
like you do when you win the Champions League. Or
whatever. And he's done that, and they're all in front of the cup doing it, and it's 2-2. I think if you Google it, there are screenshots of them doing it with the Sky Sports banner, Liverpool 2, West Brom 2. So we don't want to go down that route. We don't want to be like Liverpool and start celebrating just for the sake of celebrating. It was a massive win, but as I said a few weeks ago, we've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. Just behind him, it's like Jonathan Greening and Scott Carson or whatever, like trundling down the tunnel, not even being that ecstatic with the West Brom fans away in the corner. And even they're looking at him going, all right, lads, just a bit over the top. Even we're not that. We haven't got a point at Liverpool for 71 years. Well, look, mate, again, brilliant, absolutely brilliant to end Liverpool's unbeaten run. Let's talk about the West Ham positives first of all. We've done the atmosphere already. The goals, West Ham's goals, Angelo Ogbonna. I thought it was Angelo Ogbonna with the first one, then Pablo Fornals, Kurt Zouma at the end. I believe it was credited Jonesy as an Alisson own goal in the end. And then, Fornals played through after a superb driving run through the midfield by Bowen, where he took 3 players with him and played it off to Pablo before one of the great set-piece goals from Kurt Zouma. I was right behind that, right at my end, watched the corner all the way onto his noggin, straight back in to the empty net. What a feeling that was. We'll start with the first one then, mate. I think the tone of this is just going to be like batting away Liverpool moanings, be it from the players, fans, or pundits or whatever, who just cannot stand to see them lose. The audacity that someone has had to actually beat Liverpool at a game of football. The first one, the ball goes in. It was down your end as opposed to mine of the stadium. I just saw it go in. I thought it went straight in from the corner. Replay show it effectively did, but it sort of hit Alisson on the way. Ogbonna's in his vicinity. VAR checked it, and for the good of football, not just for the good of West Ham, for the good of football, gave that as a goal, as it rightfully should have been. But what did you make of it sort of in real time, because it was down your end?
Well, yeah, I mean, where we sit on that corner, I was pretty much in line with the ball going literally on the goal line. So we had a really good view of it, and nothing in real time suggested there was anything wrong with it. My brother, just before we took the corner, he sits directly behind me, and he whispered in me and said, "This is going straight in, mate." And I was like, "Shut up, fourth minute, like it's not going to happen." And it did, and like it was incredible, but nothing in there that really stood out. So yeah, you're right. For the good of football, I hate that rule as well. Like goalkeepers are so protected, and Klopp come out and had a moan about it, going, what's the point of protecting?
Shock.
Like, yeah, I know. I mean, he loves a moan, doesn't he? But comes out and says, that's why goalkeepers are protected, to prevent things like that. It's like what? Prevent a player from quite rightly trying to challenge the ball when the ball's in the air. If a player isn't allowed to head the ball in the box in a corner, just in case the goalkeeper doesn't catch it, unless he's deliberately barged him out of the way or barged him off his balance, that he hasn't. He's in front of Alisson. He doesn't know where Alisson is. He's not looking at Alisson. He's not running at Alisson. He's standing in front of him. And he's jumped up to head the ball. Alisson happens to be just behind him and makes an absolute horror show out of it. Like just best goalkeeper in the world, apparently. I mean, come on. But
to be the best goalkeeper in the world these days, you don't actually have to be that good with your hands, do you? As long as you can do a little Cruyff turn. And I must admit, that volley he did, the volleyed clearance in the second half, when the ball was played over the top and he sprinted out to almost the halfway line and just volleyed it like over to the opposite corner flag. I was like, yeah, fair play, mate.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I mean, I don't even know why there was a debate after. It was a fair and square goal. I could see why they were checking for the handball, because his arm was quite high. But again, didn't handball it. My only problem with the whole thing is that they didn't give the goal to Fornals, because that ball's still going in regardless of whether Alisson touches it or not.
Think?
Yeah, I think it is. And just like, even if it isn't, like, he's barely touched it. Like, the guy's put in a quality corner, give him the goal. Like, why are you giving it to the goalkeeper? Doesn't want to have the own goal. Like Fornals quite rightly said, Alisson doesn't want to kill himself with it, so let me have the goal. That's what Fornals said after. So, yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
Well, superb start to the game, that one, mate. And then we'll switch. We'll go in chronological order then, mate. Then we had, I mean, I've never seen a team like it, really. Just the whole thing of what they are, all this beautiful football rubbish. Yeah, I mean, they got some excellent players in there, of course they have. But the nature and the way they go about things, it's just horrible, man. It feels very much like, Man United of the 90s, that sort of thing. The diving was unbelievable. And Craig Pawson just playing into their hands, mate. They go the softest of touches, they go down. He was almost like quivering with like anxiety about not blowing the whistle quick enough. That's what it felt like to give Liverpool free kicks and decisions. And I honestly, and that's a proper neutral mindset as well. I've spoken to fans of other clubs and who've said the same thing. And, and the build up to their goal. I mean, I don't know what you thought, but it's just so like the way it's just vintage Salah, isn't it? And again, because of where he is, all right, I think that the narrative that, well, you don't, stand off him. That's probably why he can sometimes end up looking so good, because players are giving him half a yard that perhaps for less, less players who are less keen on diving than Salah is, or more keen to actually play some good football and make something happen, as opposed to just going down and trying to win a free kick. And any Liverpool fans giving it the big I am about Stoke, you can only score from set pieces. Well, there was nothing beautiful about the way that goal was won and scored. It's a nice free kick from Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course, but the way it's won just gets glossed over, I think, doesn't it? Because he's a nice finish. He's done well to put it in the top corner, of course. Fabianski was a little bit disappointed with him, but I guess you've just got guess whether he's going to go one way or the other. He thought he was going to whip it, and he bends it in the top right corner. But yeah, I mean, it's quite clear how I feel about the whole thing, mate. But there are a few people saying, well, it was a foul, it was soft, but it was. But I was like, again, for the good of football, I was like, really? Is it a better spectacle? Football is better this season, is it? It's being officiated better, hands down. And is football a better game and a better spectacle if that's a foul? I don't think so. Whatever shirt they're wearing, claret and blue or otherwise.
Not in any single game is that a foul. Even when refereeing was poor last season, the season before, that's not a foul. Like, everyone knows what Salah is. Everyone knows what Salah does. Not taking anything away from his talent. He is currently the best player in the world. But that's why he's the best player in the world. And you were bang on the money with defenders giving him a little bit of space, giving him half a yard, that's why he's able to score some of those incredible goals where he runs around, puts 3 defenders on their backsides and then just curls one in top corners, because those 3 defenders are giving him so much space, and so much space being only half a yard, but he's good enough to be able to make use of that half a yard, and that's how he scores those goals, because they're so scared to tackle it. And he had a couple of chances in the second half, I think, where we were giving him half a yard in the box and it looked like he was going to try and get shot away. And luckily we got a block in a couple of times. But with the free kick, it's just pathetic for me. He's felt a touch on his back, and that's all it was a touch on his back. And he's gone down like someone's kicked him in the head. And it's just like, what are you doing, mate? He went down worse than what Henderson did when Cresswell almost broke his legs about 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah, a bit, but he still
he's gone down on the floor, and it's like, what are you doing, mate? And that just frustrates me, because no one's spoken about that. No one speaks about that. Everyone's talking about how the Cresswell tackle and the Ogbonna incident with the first goal, but no one's talking about how Salah dived for their first goal. How Salah bought a free kick, and yeah, it's just frustrating, but justice was done in the end, wasn't it? So it's what it is, isn't it?
I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. God, was I glad when he got booked later in the game. That was quite funny anyway. But then to win after that, again, a bit like you said with the old hands up in front of the cop thing, he just equalised away at West Ham. And he's like coming over to the home fans, giving it all the big ones. It's 1-1, mate. You're already 1-0 down. Because and then he's massively out of position for his for Fornals' goal later on. I've never understood the hype. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player at what he's good at, and it's clear that Liverpool system. It's clear that they play with 2 defenders, don't they?
He's not a defender anyway.
Yeah, they have 2 defenders and 9 attackers, and that's their style of football, or whatever. And obviously, it's been pretty effective in recent times. But I saw your Twitter exchange. I don't know who it was with about the quality of his defender. But just on that goal, him coming up to give it big ones in that corner. So, it's not the winner. You haven't just made it 3-1 to Liverpool with 5 minutes to go. It's 1-1 in the first half. Like, calm down a bit. So it was quite enjoyable to see it all come back to bite him later in the game. The Pablo Fornals goal, Jonesy, what a run from Jarrod Bowen. Fornals getting a bit of credit from that. Poor from Alisson again. Lets it underneath him. I would expect he would have, any best goalkeeper in the world would have wanted and expected to save that, I would have thought. Bit of a scruffy finish from Fornals. I did cheer and I was into it, but it was a little bit me worried there was offside. So obviously delighted when that didn't get given. But what a run, mate, through the middle from Bowen to set that up. And that man, again, last season, everyone was like, singing his praises. He's the best thing since sliced bread. And I remember sort of getting a little bit of kickback at the time by saying, well, I think he can improve. I think his end product can get better. His decision-making can get better, et cetera, et cetera. And happy days. I mean, look at it. It definitely has. because he's been superb this season, and we'll get onto it in the news roundup. But the fact he hasn't got an England call up is I think he can feel very, very hard done by. After that, his team's third in the league. He has been superb for West Ham this season. One of the best players of an excellent bunch, I would say, if not the best player. And yeah, but just on the Liverpool game, we'll get onto that later. What a run from him. What a performance again, but what a run to set up that goal.
I think it's one of the best assists we've had this season. Like, because he's not just taken the ball and run, 40 yards and then laid the ball off. He's beaten, or he's outpaced three of what is it? Andy Robertson,
Fabinho, I think.
Fabinho and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Oxlade-Chamberlain's no mug when it comes to pace, and he's beaten Fabinho, and then he's been able to get the ball away. And Fornals loves a scuff shot, so particularly against Liverpool. So we'll give him that. But he was just class again, Bowen. He just picks his moments, doesn't he? When he wants to kind of just have a bit of a special moment. But then outside of special moments, he's just a solid, hard-working player in the team that's just superb. And you're right, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't get the call up. But yeah, his performance certainly warranted some kind of attention. And that assist, for me, assist of the season. Is there an award for assist of the season? Because there should be.
Perhaps you should do it, mate. The We Are West Ham end of season awards, as we always do.
Yeah,
bit of a popular feature people look forward to. We'll do it.
It came at a time as well where they were having a little bit more of the ball, Liverpool. It's 1-1. They're a little bit more of the ball. They're beginning to push us a little bit. And he's had the
temerity.
Audacity. I think temerity is probably the word I was looking for. Like,
just call me Will the Thesaurus.
I will.
If I can say that
I
word.
will. He's had the temerity to just get the ball and go, right, now let's get forward. And so's the rest of the players. So's his teammates. And to do that at pace, have the awareness to then to lay the ball off to Fornals. It was a great run from Fornals. That's why you win football games like that, because even when you're under a little bit of pressure. I know our style is, particularly in those games, counter-attacking football, but there weren't many opportunities to counter-attack before then, and he's done that probably out of nothing. Really, I haven't watched it back properly since this morning, so my memory's a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been watching it a lot since.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think it just shows the player that Jarrod Bowen's becoming, and each and every game he's getting better and better, and that's just proof of it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge credit to him. Because I think he's come on leaps and bounds this season. Yeah, and we'll give Fornals. I'll tell you what, Jonesy, I know it's a little bit basic, but I do like the old salute celebration that he does as well. Yeah. Not a lot to it, but the knee slide with the salute. I don't like a knee slide, but the old salute is yeah, I do like that. Then of course Kurt Zouma, mate. I mean, that was different gravy. That was. I know the first one was a little bit more scrappy, of course, but that is almost impossible to defend against. I've been wondering for a while now, especially with Ogbonna notching a couple this season, exactly when Kurt Zouma was going to get his first go. So prolific from set pieces for Chelsea under Frank Lampard. I was thinking, surely it's got to come soon, or perhaps there's just a different, tactic in the way they're attacking corners, that they're using him as a decoy or whatever. But that was superb, absolutely superb. Emphatic is the word I would use. Brilliant corner from that right hand side from Jarrod again. Superb showing from him. Floats it all the way to the back, and I say that's the corner I sit in, just at the front of the upper tier there, right behind it the whole way. Saw it, and as soon as I saw the flight of the ball, and could see it all happening, I was like, yes. And it's one of those, I was like, just get your head in the way and leave your head there. Don't try and head it. Yeah. Don't do anything else. That's when it skews anywhere else. And it was perfect. He just ran into its path. He was there. Let it hit him plumb in the middle of the forehead, straight back between Alisson's arms, and it nestled in the corner right in front of me. And to make that 3-1 as well, absolutely superb. He was loving it. The whole fans were loving it. Controversial opinion coming up, though, Jonesy. I don't like the Zoom chant. I'm not a fan.
Why?
I I liked it when it was Samasi Abu when I was a kid, but I just don't like it.
Why?
I don't know. I don't like the noise. It kills the buzz a little bit. I associate that sound with negatives. I've heard plenty of boo sounds at West Ham over the years, and yeah, I don't know. It's just not quite. It's a personal opinion, man. I mean, anyone feel free to shoot me down in flames if they like. I'm just not a fan. I do get involved, but half-heartedly.
You won't get like Zouma going, why are they booing me like Abu did all those years ago? He used to do,
yeah.
So why's the fan? No, they're just saying your name, mate. Like everyone, like he knows that fans ain't booing him. I think it's all right. Bit harmless fun, Will.
Yeah,
bit harmless fun.
I'm a bit of a stickler for regiment and structure and rules, Jonesy. Perhaps what it is, mate. Perhaps it's just that I'm a little bit worried that if I ever become a Premier League footballer, and again, 30 on Saturday, so still plenty of time for it. Yeah, no, exactly. Do you think that if and when I inevitably scored, goal poacher as I am, that everyone would just be going, Pugh? Because basically, mate, that's the only reason I haven't become a professional footballer, because I wouldn't like it.
Against it.
Yeah. So I just decided to be crap and average enough to only be good enough for a few years of Sunday League football on purpose because of my surname. If my surname was Jones, I'd have been 100%. I'd have been keeping Antonio at the team at the moment.
Fair enough. I mean, I'd love to say that. I mean, I've retired anyway after my goal at London Stadium all those years ago, but all those months ago, should I say? But yeah, I can see where you're coming from, mate. I can see where you're coming from.
God, that still gives me chills, that anecdote. I don't know if we covered it on the podcast, but the fact you got yourself a piece of artwork made up of that is like simultaneously admirable and the most disgusting thing I've ever heard you do. Right, Jonesy, the third Liverpool goal. The second Liverpool goal. We got 3, they only got 2. Divock Origi, I must admit, mate, I was sat behind it, and same as everyone else in the stadium, was like, oh God, that's made me nervous. But I was like, fair play, nice finish. I just came out of nowhere. He was like, oh yeah, no trouble, back to goal, standing off him a bit, no problem at all. Yeah, we've got this. Bang. Oh, it's in the bottom corner. And proper nice finish at. The ball was bouncing a bit. He hit into the ground, nice and accurate. Fabianski didn't stand a chance. I don't really think the defending could have been too much better, really. I think he was in what looked like a safe position. And as I always say with football and opponents at West Ham play, if you're beaten by a good bit of football, I don't really mind that. And that goal compared to Liverpool's first one, I thought, yeah, hats off, fair play.
That's one of the reasons why I really wanted us to sign him in the summer. I think we were linked with him a couple of times and just really wanted us to see us sign him because he can come off the bench and score good goals. He can start games, score good goals. I think Liverpool fans are really impressed with him just because every time he plays, he does tend to get on the score sheet. And he proved with that goal. I mean, it's a superb finish on the swivel. Took a nice touch to set himself up and volleyed it in. And yeah, it was a superb finish and just made it unnecessarily nervous for everyone for was it 6 minutes or whatever it was, and felt like 6 hours.
When Mane missed that header, that was your end, mate.
That happened right in front of us, and it came. Yeah. So Mane's like when he headed it, the ball was going away from us, and so it looked like it was going in from where we were. And so we only realised it hadn't gone in when we just see the ball appear on the other end, going towards the Liverpool fans off the pitch, and my heart stopped. Like generally, just kind of, it was all like slow motion. Because it's 91st minute or whatever it was, and it's just slow motion. You just see him head the ball, and you just think, well, that's it. We've blown it.
Yeah.
And then you just see the ball just appear on the other side, and you're just like, oh my God, thank God for that. Like people like fall into their knees going, thank you so much. He's missed it. It's just the most horrific moment I've experienced at West Ham for a long time.
It's just like,
yeah, it's like, don't go in. But that's like when things that happen, you kind of know it's your night, don't it? You kind of just know, it's meant to be our day today. It's meant to be our night.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Sure. It's funny. I sort of felt we played like the worst football when we were 1-0 up. Other than that, I thought we were really good. Obviously, we dropped back a bit, and I think I'm not sure who it was. It might have even been Moisey or something I read in the week, just saying it was almost like West Ham didn't like when they were 1-0 up. They felt they had something to hold on to, and then when the shackles came off, when Liverpool equalised, in a weird way, that almost made them realise, no, we're good enough to go toe to toe with this lot. Which perhaps they didn't before, especially when they went 1-0 up. But look, Jonesy, they would just rattle through these last couple of bits then. Just one thing, the Cresswell tackle, first of all. Now, that was right in front of me, and I thought, red, straight away. It was right in front of me. I thought it looked like he'd done the old scissors thing. Couldn't really tell how high it was. Henderson's obviously going down as if he's been shot. And yeah, I was like, oh, well, that's the game over then. I'm going to get home really early today because I'm going to leave now because that's it. And then obviously it didn't get given at the time. Well, red didn't get given at the time. I then just got sent a screen grab in a group chat from the TV at half time, which just showed Aaron Cresswell 2 foot off the ground with his stud or back studs looking like they were connected with Henderson's knee. And I was like, how the hell is that not red? And then I saw the highlights when I got home, and where his foot bounces off the ball, it was a freak occurrence, I thought. But once again, for the good of football, a good decision for that not to be a red. Like he literally bounced off the ball, which you never see, do you? He got the ball first, perhaps a little bit reckless. And if it was a red, I don't think I'd be going, that's an absolute disgrace. I wouldn't like it for the good of football again, as we keep talking about. I wouldn't like it for that, but I'd go, all right, well, it's reasonably consistent-ish. You could argue that he was out of control a bit reckless, whatever. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it was a weird one for us because where we were on the ground, we didn't see the high foot from our angle, so we just saw him just clatter into Henderson, but win the ball. And we just thought, what a superb tackle that is.
Yeah.
We didn't see it being what it was. So we were a little bit baffled at our end of the stadium going, why are they checking that for a red card? Like, what's going on there? Like, it looked like he won the ball. But then you see the replay, and I mean, any tackle can be made to look worse than it is with a screenshot. Like,
yeah, just, for sure. Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you had the screenshot Salah in the first half, you'd think he'd been killed. But
if you screenshotted him on the floor,
yeah, just poor Mohamed Salah, he's died.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah, but with this one, you're absolutely bang on again. Like he did bounce off the ball. I've seen the argument that, you know, regardless of whether it was intentional or not, and it was unlucky that he bounced off the ball, he's out of control of his body. He's out of control of the tackle, so therefore it is dangerous play, endangering an opponent. But I would argue that he's only out of control of his body when his foot bounces up away from the ball and he kind of loses a little bit of balance and loses a bit of momentum in a tackle. That's the only time he's out of control, which isn't really his fault. He hasn't gone in, maybe slightly recklessly, but it's the 8th minute. You're 1-0 up already against Liverpool in front of your home crowd. You're buzzing. You probably do go in the tackle a little bit harder than what you would normally. So yeah, I think, as you said, if he did get sent off, I'd have been like, yeah, I can see why he's been sent off there.
Yeah.
But then I can also see why VAR looked at it and went, actually, I saw it for actually what it was, which is really pleasing, and just gone,
massive
okay,
yeah,
bit of a strong tackle, but he's never meant that. So so yeah, I mean, they didn't even get booked, I don't think, which did surprise me.
Well, I think
I thought we might book him.
But they only checked for like red, didn't they? The ref just gave it for whatever he gave it for, and then
not even the lino flagged for the free kick.
Yeah, and it was right. He was right
saying
there.
That.
Yeah,
we were saying that when they're doing the VAR check. We were saying, well, it couldn't have been that bad. The lino was right in front of it and didn't even wave his flag. So yeah, but you're right. They probably do only check for the red card, but it was probably a yellow at most, I think.
Yeah, but mate, I don't even think. I think, like, you know, if it's not a red, then He's got the. But anyway, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? It went for us, didn't it? And happy days. Yeah, I must say, Jonesy. Just want to note we'll end on this note rather than start it. But from what I've seen on Twitter, anyway, the reaction from Liverpool fans and maybe football fans generally. But if you just compare that to the reaction to Man City fans after the League Cup game the other week, where arguably they had more to lose. What a record they had in that competition. And the general tone of reaction to their team's defeat between Liverpool and Man City fans, I've noticed it on Twitter. I would say there is a gulf, is how I would describe it, between the reaction to the two sets of fans. I'm talking about Twitter. So let's be very clear here that Twitter is not an accurate reflection of how normal functioning members of society act and feel about stuff. I even text one of my Liverpool fans who I'm going out with on Thursday and said, I'm sorry for what an insufferable bloke I'm going to be Thursday. I try not to, but this rarely happens. I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. I totally understand if you don't want to be friends afterwards. So apologies in advance. He was very gracious about it. Said, don't worry, mate, you deserved it. It was a great game. What a cracker, blah, blah, blah. My other mate, who's my best and oldest mate, literally my longest serving friend, and Liverpool fan. Haven't heard from him. So, but what have you sort of made of the reaction, just as far as Twitter goes? We're taking it with the pinch of salt in that it is Twitter.
I mean, football fans, it's football fans for you, isn't it? And it's people on Twitter for you. It's when you're on Twitter, it's just like a tool just to vent your frustration. I mean, I've done it many a time. I did it after the Brentford game about the ref, and so many times. But you do your vent, and you kind of say things that probably kind of just you probably don't even believe at the time, but you're just so angry about a certain thing that's happened or the result or whatever. But then at the same time, particularly in the case that I've seen after the Liverpool game, is that you just get a hell of a lot of people that have no idea what they're talking about. They've either not watched the game or they've watched the game on Sky, and
they've been sent a screenshot.
Or they've been sent a screenshot. People anti-football one and just stuck to me on the ball, and you got lucky because you scored 2 goals from 2 corners, and even one of those was a bit dubious. It's like,
well, theirs was a set piece that shouldn't have been awarded.
Well, sorry, but what? We're not allowed to score corners against Liverpool? Is that? Where did they bring that rule in?
Yeah, our goalkeeper's only good with his feet. Like, it's a bit unfair, actually, that you put aerial balls in and expect him to use his hands.
Did they forget to check VAR when we scored the 2 corners? And go, no, we need to rule those goals out because they were corners.
Yeah,
like you're not allowed to score corners against Liverpool. And just little comments like that, and just going, "Oh, you're lucky." And but then I did get a few guys that I work with actually who are Liverpool fans tweet me, go, "Oh, well played." It might. I'm their boss, so that might be a little bit different, to be fair. But they're not going to have a go at me on Twitter. But they did. But they were like, "Yeah, fair play, and yeah, well played." But I think the difference between you mentioned City there, the difference between City fans and Liverpool fans, not just on Twitter but in general, I think is that City fans don't feel entitled about the situation at their football club. They've been where we are. Yeah. They've been where we were. They've been below. They were in Division 2. Yeah. They know what it's like to be rubbish, but they also know what it's like to start climbing up and being a little bit better all of a sudden, and start being really good and being in the top 4. Whereas Liverpool, more often than not, have only known good things, and so there is that sense of entitlement amongst the Liverpool fan base, and that's not like a cheap dig at the Liverpool fan base. I generally believe that's true, and it's the same at Man United. I saw a Man United fan tweet the other day going, "Oh, I'm thinking of stopping supporting United because I'm sick and tired of the performances." It's like, mate, what are you talking about? Like you've really not suffered at all. You really haven't.
Maybe that's what your little boy will be like with West Ham, though, Jonesy, and all of his mates when they're going in 30 years or whatever. If we come second one year, he'll be like getting on Twitter, "That's it, I'm not going anymore. I'm sick and tired of this at West Ham. We've only come second. We haven't won the champ. We only got to the final of the Champions League this year. This is an absolute joke. We've only won the League Cup and got to the FA Cup final."
But I can sit him down and show him old DVDs, if DVDs are still a thing back in the future.
Wait, they're not even a thing now. What the hell are you talking
Well,
about?
I mean, I have to buy like a £500 DVD player to
Yeah,
show it.
yeah.
Like
Proper
an
retro
antique.
one off eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sitting down and have like the old season reviews they used to sell on DVD and just go, right,
Yeah.
these are the years where we were rubbish and your dad suffered during these years. So just remember we're good now, but
Stay grounded, son.
you're
Stay
not
grounded.
entitled to this. You're not entitled to this. You know, we've earned this for your benefit. So, but Liverpool haven't really had that, have they? So their fans are relatively entitled, and you know, I think
Yeah, and I haven't even
that's
got the
what it's
dads
born at.
sitting them down, have they? Going, look, when I was young, we were crap. It was like, no, actually, when I was your age, we were pretty good then as well. So,
If anything, when the dads was their age, they were better. They were winning league titles quite a lot.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, it's weird the entitlement doesn't come from the last like 20 years rather than it's like, oh, well, yeah, we'll talk about the 70s and the 80s. We'll ignore the 90s and the early 2000s. And but hey, whatever. Look, Jonesy, we're an hour and 10 minutes into this recording. And we've done the introduction and covered one West Ham game in a week where there's two to talk about, as well as the West Ham women and the general news roundup. I hope you haven't got bored so far listening at home. I'm sure you haven't, because I'm having a jolly nice time having a chat about how good West Ham are, how massive West Ham are. Flipping love that chat as well, but that chant taking off, the West Ham are massive. What an absolutely superb addition to the West Ham United fans' repertoire that is. But look, that's enough of the Liverpool game now. It felt to me a little bit like that song was born at Genk away. The West Ham are massive. I was lucky enough to be at that game. A huge milestone in my personal life, but another great chapter in the chapter of no, what am I saying here? Right, Josie, give me a hand here. Another great chapter in the story that West Ham are writing this season. Was that all right for an analogy?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Delivery 4 out of 10, but overall sentiment 9.
8.5. Let's not get carried away, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stay humble. Stay humble. remember the days when you were crap at analogies. Listen, enough of this. Genk away reaction next. I've said it already, Jonesy. Watching West Ham away in Europe has been a dream of mine for as long as I've supported West Ham. I've done most of the away grounds in the country with West Ham at one point or another. It's always, just like you, been a huge part of my life. And there's always something special about away wins and away grounds and going to away games and away atmospheres and all that sort of thing, being in the minority, etc., etc. And having the absolute privilege last week to be able to get out to Genk with my dad, who I've always gone to football with since I was very young, and watch West Ham play away in European competition was something else, mate. Yeah, just superb stuff. Absolutely superb. It was a brilliant game, a really entertaining affair. Belgium, an half a strange place. We drove out there. Me and my dad got the Eurotunnel. A nice little drive, about 6 hours each way, I think, in total, roughly. And yeah, just like great little hotel, not too long, not too far away. Genk's a bit of a strange place, but yeah, really nice stadium. Atmosphere, considering the amount of fans that were in there from Genk, which wasn't loads. I don't know what their average attendance is, to be fair. So that may have been as good as it gets for them anyway. But I thought the atmosphere they created was really good. We were sat in that corner with all the away fans, of course, and yeah, it's just phenomenal, mate. I'll never ever forget it. And it was a brilliant game of football. And even when Thomas Souček scores the own goal at the end, like I say, it didn't dampen any of it for me. It just felt more than that. And given the context and the backdrop against which the game came, that's the West Ham gone unbeaten in their first 4. I did have a tweet that I put out before the game, which aged absolutely appallingly. West Ham looking to, it's basically one of those, you know, when you just like tweet something with a couple of pictures to show off that you're there. Yeah. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's exactly what was going on. Yeah, West Ham about to kick off and try and become the first English club ever to win their first 4 Europa League games without conceding a goal. And then, just as soon as I'd got enough signal for that tweet to actually go out, 4 minutes later, Joseph Pantsil, gave me shivers because I thought it might have been Jonathan Pantsil, come back to haunt us, puts Genk 1-0 up after 4 minutes. I was like, well, it's annoying we're 1-0 down, and I already know that I'm probably going to get more reactions to that tweet just based on how appallingly it's aged. And sure enough, as soon as I logged on, just a load of people going, well done, mate. You're not allowed your phone for the next game. Da-da-da. You might have even been one of them, I think, Jonesy.
Yeah, I said I'm confiscating your phone in Vienna. It's not happening.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. So, that was quite funny. But what an occasion, mate. What an occasion. What did you make of it from home? And we'll have a little chat about Genk, shall we?
Yeah, I thought the first half was uncharacteristically West Ham. It was almost like watching the West Ham of old at times. And I'm putting it down to the fact that tired. I know we made a lot of changes, but I think the team were a little bit tired. Maybe went in a little bit complacent and got caught off guard. Having beaten them 3-0 only 2 weeks earlier, they're in a bit of a bad place domestically. Maybe a little bit of complacency in there, but I thought Genk was superb in the first half. I thought
they were like a different team.
Yeah. I think it just caught everyone a little bit. They needed half time to come after 10 minutes just so they could regroup and just go, right, okay, what are we going to do with this? But I thought to go in at 1-0, I thought was a bit of a blessing because it could have been 3 or 4, I think. That Pantsil, he got clobbered about, a minute before, and he'd gone down a little bit like Salah does, gone down and hurt his leg, and then a minute later he's sprinting in behind Diop and scoring. It's like, his leg's recovered then, is it? Oh, well done, mate. But on the goal,
it wasn't as bad as you made out, mate.
Yeah, what happened there, mate?
Julia.
Right. Poor defending from Diop, by the way. Like, for me, he should have seen him running behind it.
I haven't even seen the highlights, to be honest, mate. I haven't seen
poor.
He got
well and truly beaten. Just didn't read the ball. You could see it coming a mile off, and by the time he'd read it, Pantsil was in behind him. Just really poor defending, but in the end, did well to come back. And that second goal from Benrahma in the second half, just outrageous, outrageous. And then, Souček, bless him. I think it's probably his 30th own goal for us. That's an
he just headers, doesn't he? He doesn't click where he is. He just headers whatever's in front of him.
Love him.
I mean, I don't know. It's sort of. I mean, Said Benrahma was superb all night. It was, it's one of his best games for us. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, he scored 2 goals. I thought his first goal was really nice as well. To be honest, I'm not getting them mixed up here. The first one was the one swept it in from the edge of the box, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Too far down the right, cuts it back to Benrahma.
I thought that was a really nice, well worked goal as well. I thought we looked a little bit sluggish, but I think it's one of those, mate, where certainly in the first half, you've just got to say fair play to the opposition, which happens sometimes, isn't it? It's easy to just look at your own team. But they were like a team possessed. I thought they were superb, and you got to take your hat off to them for that. More than warranted their first goal. And I think if we're all honest, Jonesy, I don't think anyone can begrudge Genk a draw. I thought all of their players played pretty well. They all put in a good shift. They were playing some nice, swift, fluid football. And if anything, all that would have been brilliant for us when we get the second in the 82nd minute and you think, blimey, brilliant. How good is this coming back from behind to watch us win 1-0 away in Europe? Superb. He put through his own net. It was almost like, it was a little bit of comedy in it. It was a great occasion anyway. And the fact that it doesn't matter too much for our chances of qualification, really, or you hope anyway. I don't want to speak too soon, but let's be honest.
We have qualified, haven't we? It's guaranteed.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, winning the group or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? You got to try and stay a bit pragmatic, but you'd hope that we'd be able to get enough points to get over the line to win the group as well. But just from a purely independent, pragmatic point of view, I'd say Genk deserves a draw out of that.
100%. They would have felt really, really hard done by had they not got that equaliser. because particularly in the first half, they fully deserved it. Obviously, we deserved it in the second half, but they should have scored 4 or 5 in the first half. So yeah, I think a draw in the end, and I was like you really. I was kind of like, oh, that's a little bit frustrating that we haven't won that, but oh well. Like just for the first time, when you concede a late goal and you just start, normally it feels like a defeat, doesn't it? It just feels like a defeat, but that didn't. It just felt like, oh, okay, fine. That's a shame.
Yeah.
We move on.
We've won one, drawn one away in Europe. All right.
Yeah, it's
Won
like,
our
oh,
2
well.
home games. Okay.
And the fact is, because we've won our first 3 games so well, it kind of, that's why drawing 2-2 at Genk, conceding a late equaliser, it kind of just felt just so bleh, just like whatever. Like
Yeah.
we've already qualified. We just got to make sure we win the group, and I think we will. So yeah, I mean, it was good for Genk to get that point. I think it still keeps them in with a chance of qualifying as well. So keeps the group a little bit open for everyone else. And so we can say that we've had a really good group stage. We've also done everyone else a favour as well by not winning them all.
Yeah, exactly. And it will make those other games between the 3 remaining clubs more competitive, won't it? They've obviously Genk still got to play Rapid Vienna and Dinamo Zagreb as well. And really, we want those games to be teams going hell for leather against each other, don't they? Because that obviously plays into our hands. But yeah, it was an absolutely phenomenal occasion. I mean, me and you are heading out to Vienna in a few weeks' time, I'm so excited about that. And I know we've sort of been an hour and a bit about it before, but that trip, I was like, yes, we've got to go. Even though it might sort of, obviously it will hopefully seal our status as group winners or whatever. But yeah, the whole occasion, mate, there's something, it was magical, absolutely magical. The fans in that corner, there's 1,500-ish West Ham United fans, were superb, sort of non-stop singing the whole way through. And you could just see, mate, it's just such a nice place to be. There was just joy on everyone's faces. Yeah, just absolutely lovely stuff. I didn't see any trouble from where I was. I might be perhaps, I know, a bit naive. I haven't seen too many reports or anything of anything like that. We'll get onto a couple of the main news lines that come out of the game shortly. But overall, the atmosphere felt really nice and positive. The West Ham fans seemed like they were enjoying it. So a little bit of sort of unpleasantness afterwards, but from a West Ham fan, I just think it just had far too many beers. I think a little bit of a scuffle with stewards and security staff outside, but in the grand scheme of things, that got dealt with pretty quickly. And yeah, just brilliant, mate. Like a great thing to have been able to done from a personal point of view, but from the club as well. It's just superb, mate. It's just dreamland, isn't it? Just going away, top of the Europa League group, couldn't be going any better. So yeah, looking forward to Vienna, mate. Are you?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to doing it properly as a fan. I've said did it in one of our qualifiers with Betway, flew out there on the team plane, flew back on the team plane, and
Just NK Domzali.
Yeah, and Domzali and Slovenia, and lovely couple of days in Ljubljana, the capital over there, and that was great. And Betway was so good to invite me onto that. But going over there as a proper fan, proper tickets, yeah, absolutely buzzing, and just looking forward to spending a couple of days with you as well, mate. Because we're doing Thursday, Saturday, so we'll have a little bit of time to do a bit of sightseeing as well.
Yeah, proper cute, wasn't it? We were romantic.
Oh, I can't wait. Buzzing for it.
Absolutely, mate. I just want to give a massive shout out as well, and a thank you to Chad and the charity, our charity partner Betway, of course, for sorting us out, sorting me and my dad out for this game. We made our own way over there and all that. Not quite team playing. We're obviously not VIPs as much as you are, Jonesy, but yeah, sorting us out the entry to the game and stuff. And this is unconfirmed, mate, unconfirmed. But as far as I'm aware, and from what I could see, I think Josh Cullen was sitting a few rows down from me, which was quite cool. So unconfirmed, but I was almost certain that it was him.
Plays his football in Belgium, doesn't he? So makes sense.
Yes, of course. Yeah, he's at Anderlecht. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Yeah, lovely little
100%.
Yeah, that makes way more sense now. Before I just thought, that's cool. He's come out to support a team or whatever. He still obviously loves West Ham, but yeah, now he actually plays down the road. Yeah, I'm way less stunned by it than I was before. I was like, oh, blimey, that's impressive. The bloke's like driven an hour and a half. Yeah, look, Jonesy, a couple of the news stories then from that Genk away game. I think we'll start with the lighter one and then end on, well, not lighter one, it depends which way you come it from, I suppose. The finger that got lost. Most fans listening to this, I'm sure, will have seen the video, some of the footage of a fan at the front of the away end losing his finger in the goal celebrations. Now, where I was sat in that corner, but raised up a little bit. So I was basically looking right down on where that happened. And after the goal went in, I could see a bit of commotion. And there was one person at the front of the gate shouting and gesticulating towards what I first thought were police or stewards. Then I saw the red crosses on the back and saw they were medics. And there was a lot of like gesticulation. And immediately, given what's happened recently, it happened again at Dagenham and Redbridge last night. In the FA Cup, a man was taken ill. It happened at Newcastle the other day. You've seen it with Christian Eriksen in the summer, etc., etc. I just assumed, oh no, I'm going to look in the thing and someone's going to have a heart attack or an illness of that kind. Someone's going to collapse. It was just after a goal. You know, yeah, blood pressure goes up and excitement levels go up. I was like, I don't want to see that. That's not very nice. Got that horrible feeling. Looking in the crowd and I couldn't see anything. It was just the one bloke at the front who was gesticulating towards these Red Cross people. Everyone else was celebrating the goal. There wasn't like a patch of fans which you expect to see with like where a few people are all still or there's a gap created or anything. Nothing like that. I was like, that's peculiar. I was watching it for a bit and it just seemed like, I was like, I don't know. Perhaps he's like dropped his phone or perhaps he just wants to get out. I don't know. You couldn't tell. It was like, oh, it can't be that bad then. And the medics weren't doing any, they didn't look particularly lively or concerned or whatever. It just looked like a conversation of one overexcited West Ham fan chatting to four medics who didn't really sort of seem to think anything was urgent. It was only afterwards I saw the footage and at first I was like, oh, that's fake. But then it kind of made sense with what I'd seen. And yeah, a fan lost the tip of his finger at the front of that away end. I can only assume by having his hand in the railings and then, you know, getting barged about or whatever it may have been. I don't know if you've seen anything more, Jones, but obviously, first of all, just to say our thoughts and well wishes go out to the fan involved and hope you're making a swift recovery. I don't know if you know any more about that, Jonesy.
Well, I mean, I've been forwarded the picture of the fan's finger. He's in hospital.
Right.
And it's yet to be. So it's literally you can see the bone sticking out, and it's very gruesome.
I think I saw that. Horrendous.
And I mean, I've seen it before. My mate lost a finger. It's funny enough after a West Ham game. Slipped while jumping over a fence, lost his finger. Very similar thing. So, and I got sent the picture, so I'm kind of used to seeing people with no fingers, which is weird. But
oh god,
I looked at it closely and realised that it's his ring finger, his wedding ring finger. And straight away,
really,
yeah, it's his. So, I mean, if he's married, I don't know how old the guy was or who the guy was, but straight away, he kind of putting two and two together. He's grabbed onto the railings, his ring's caught, and he's basically pulled his finger off with the force of it, and his ring hasn't helped. And it straight away made me, I held my ring finger and my wedding ring and just thought, oh God, like that must be so painful. And then I thought, oh, if it is his ring finger, his wife must be livid because he hasn't got a ring finger anymore. Because I know Lucy lives, but I didn't have one. So
surely she'd let you off if your whole flipping finger got ripped off.
It's so stupid celebrating a goal. That's what I'd get probably.
It's away in Europe. What are you talking about? Well, I'm glad my fingers come off actually, because if you're going to be like that, I don't want to be married to you anyway.
But yeah, I think that's what happened. I think that's. I mean, I might be way off the mark, but it is his ring finger on his left hand. It kind of putting two and two together. I think that's probably what's happened. He's got it caught in the railings, and having a ring on has only increased the chances of his finger being pulled off.
Yeah, not nice. Not nice
No.
at all. But yeah, I don't know who it is. Anyone who does know him, who's listening to this podcast, do send the guy our best wishes. I assume well, I don't know whether he'd still be over there, perhaps, but obviously he'd have gone to hospital there. But yeah, we send him our best wishes. Hope you're feeling better soon. Hope the lasting effects aren't too severe. I imagine they might be, but yeah, just best wishes from me and Josie on the We Are Sam podcast. Yeah, James, and there's one thing that we do, and apologies to the guy it was, who I'm sure won't feel like his issue was the more lighter of the two, and yeah, I apologise. Perhaps I worded that slightly wrong, but unfortunately. There was some footage, James, that came from a plane on the way to Belgium, I believe, which appeared to show up because this is I believe there was an arrest made at some stage. So I'm going to be deliberately careful with the wordings of these things here. There was an alleged offence that took place on a plane. Footage emerged which appeared to show a West Ham fan or group of chanting the well-known anti-Semitic song, which is in years past was sang among West Ham fans and perhaps fans of other clubs as well, but certainly West Ham fans towards Tottenham fans on the whole, relating to the sort of large portion of Jewish fans that their club has historically had. Now, again, we do have to be a bit careful of this while it's maybe still an ongoing police matter. But the video kind of speaks for itself. Whether it ends up there being a criminal offence or not, we're not so sure. But until sort of things are played out as they do in the criminal process, it would be unwise of Jonesy and I to give too much opinion on it. Certainly just media law things, and just make sure if it ever gets to sort of trial or anything like that, we don't know that at this stage, but suffice enough to say that if it does prove to be what it appears to be, it's not something that neither James or I would even come close to condoning. It'd be completely the other way. It would be condemnation. But as I say, we've noticed it's happened. We've seen it. I think because it's a police matter, Jonesy, it's just sort of we can't make any sort of other comments on that sort of thing. But lots of the fans leaping to the man's defence. Whatever happens, criminal or not, it would not have been a nice position for the man to have been in. A fella that seemed to look on his own, just getting picked on. But we've seen it. We have to sort of let things develop a little bit more first before we can give too much opinion on it, James. I think that's sort of wise, isn't it?
100%. I think everyone's had their say on social media about it. I mean, it's just very, very disappointing that a big night in Europe, which it was, has kind of potentially been marred by something like that. So it's just disappointing, really, from the way I see it, that we're having to talk about this and we're having to sort of mention it, and it just shouldn't be happening. Just shouldn't be happening.
It's old. It's out of date, that song now, isn't it? I know it's not about it's just done, isn't it? There's no place for that anymore.
It's not even banter.
No.
You can't even go, oh, it's just a bit of a laugh. It's like, well, it's not funny.
It's beyond being, yeah.
The days are gone when people would turn a blind eye to that, and you could sing it in the terraces and it'd be funny for a little bit, and you could wind your mates up with Tottenham fans or whatever, and it'd be something that you sing, but you just can't do that anymore. It's
even looking,
regardless of whether you agree with the fact you can't sing about it anymore or not. Like, the fact is you can't. It's offensive.
Yeah, exactly. Nor should you. Yeah.
So therefore, just don't sing it, because if you do, chances are someone's going to have a video phone, because everyone carries a video camera with them these days. It's like everyone has a video camera. Chances are you're going to get recorded. It's going to end up on social media, and you're probably going to end up in trouble.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Again, I mean, if there isn't any sort of moral thing in you that would steer you away from doing that, which you'd hope there would be and there should be in this day and age, even if you're only worried about getting in trouble, just don't. There's so many reasons why not. But look, once things develop a bit more, perhaps we'll have our say on it again, but just wanted to make it abundantly clear what side of the issue, even if there are sides, but if there are, what side of the fence me and Jonesy and the We Are West Ham podcast sit on. No room for anything like that. It's not stuff we want to see at our club or among the fans and on the terraces and stuff, especially if you're just random members of the public like that. But look, overall, Genk away, superb experience personally and for the club as well. A point, 4 games in Europa League, unbeaten, guaranteed qualification. Need one more win, I think, Jonesy, to win the group, and then straight through to the last 16 of Europe with the potential of a nice meaty tie. And I've still got my fingers crossed for Barcelona.